What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the after credit scene. We are talking forecast and prediction for episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. Whole lot of things to get into, and this is where we're going to spend our time talking about theories, talking about what's coming, talking about some of the Easter eggs and different things that you might have seen. So check out our review videos for some breakdowns and some different discussions about what's going on in the world. But tune in here on the weekends so we can talk about all the different things that are coming up, what you might have missed, and what to look forward to in the next episode. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 200 subscribers, but we need your help to get there. Then share this thing all across the multiverse. Let's get right to it. So this show is built around, and I'm glad that they're still doing it this way, but built around the courtroom drama and the dichotomy between Matt Murdock and his secret life as Daredevil. And so intertwining the courtroom drama and intertwining, especially the way the comics do, with Matt's back and forth between how the justice system is not doing its job and trying to let it, and trusting it, but then going out and seeking justice for those when the justice system doesn't work. And so we're setting the stage here for some real courtroom drama in the form of Hector Ayala's trial when it comes to the things that happened on the subway. Now, I think there's a whole lot of tension surrounding the fact that they know that he's White Tiger and all these kind of things. I think that there's going to be some fireworks there because I don't think that the prosecutor is going to let that go. I think they're going to try to find a way to introduce that information. Obviously, after the last episode, Murdock has tracked down the witness on the subway platform. And so do they have that guy? Can they keep him safe? Will the police come looking for him? And how is that all going to work, especially whenever it all comes out in court? I think that's 100%. I think this courtroom drama stuff is going to be interwoven through the whole thing. Episode 1 had it with Bullseye's courtroom scene. It had it with Hector Ayala in episode 2, and I think they're going to continue a lot of that. Moving on, I think early on here we're going to get either some shadowy goings on, some more graffiti, some murders, something where we start to see evidence of Muse entering the scene. I think it's really going to tie closely with some of this vigilante stuff. I think some of this podcast street journalist activism stuff is going to work itself in there, particularly with Muse and his art and the things that he's doing on either side of that. I think they're going to play off this character where he does the same thing, where he kind of has this political side where he's doing things that are okay in the public light, but they're a little bit, the graffiti, the public art expositions and stuff. But I also think he's going to have a darker side too, where these things spill over into where he's committing murder and he's doing things that really the police aren't able to deal with. And you're going to get some people saying, well, I think he's doing a good thing. Well, I think he's doing a bad thing. Well, hey, this guy is horrible. You have a lot of those characters all throughout this story. And then you have the really unhinged people to make these people in the middle seem normal in a gray area. Fisk, Murdock, even the Punisher. Those characters in the middle are morally ambiguous. Even Karen Page has her own history of doing some things that we as an audience would say, yeah, that was totally justified. But in terms of law, is murder, is stealing, is all these kind of things. And so these characters in the middle that are gray areas, but only in comparison to the crazy that we get on either end of it. And so I think Muse is going to definitely be one of those guys. I think, and I'm only 90% sure. I think they need to introduce him sooner, so I think that's going to happen. But I could also see them holding off and doing a little more world building here in order to create an environment where this seems normal. I could be wrong. I think they start putting those threads in there. We got 9 episodes though, so I think anything goes. But I think this is an interesting enough character. They're going to want to spend time exploring it and using it to build this world and to intensify this pressure that is only going to snap later on in the series where things just get crazy. I think Fisk and Murdock are going to flirt with the things in their other natures, but they're never going to go fully in. And that may take another couple of episodes. And so If that means I don't think we get a Daredevil in costume episode until maybe 4 or 5 again, then maybe that's the case. I think this battle against the vigilantes continues to heat up, not only with the court case, because I think they're really going to try to introduce the fact that Hector Ayala is White Tiger, if for no other reason than to destroy his image there. But I think Murdoch may be tracking down Punisher, tracking down Frank Castle to try to see if the cops that have the Punisher tattoo on them are involved with him, if there's anything to that. It's at least a lead. Now, it's going to be an interesting test of whether the MCU changes Murdoch's powers a little bit, because there's just a tattoo on somebody's arm. It may be a little more difficult to see does his echolocation and those kind of things, are they able to do that? I understand being able to see somebody's hand and the things behind it and around it, and the way the hand moves and stuff, or being able to hear that or whatever. But how are they going to show that? Are they just going to say, oh, he had a tattoo on him and I saw it? But it would be an interesting way to say, oh, he can, it's not just an echolocation in his mind creating an image. He can see better, or he's doing it in a different way. I think it would be an awesome opportunity for them to explore that, but I honestly, I don't think they will. I just think it'd be really cool if they did. 80% chance that we see Frank Castle here. I think introducing him only adds credence to this world, and creates more of an environment where everybody's being affected by what's going on. So I think it would be nice to introduce him sooner rather than later, especially for the diehards that came from the Netflix series. It's really going to invest them even further. And I think they can pull out the big guns early on and make this a whole world rather than just we're going to keep all these guys separate. I think they're all in the MCU. They're all here together. And throwing those guys in early on is only going to add to the tension. This ongoing, especially with Fisk as well. Fisk is doing the same thing. Is Murdoch trying to solve this by being Matt Murdock, or is he going to give over to the devil inside? I think that scream at the end of episode 2 is him realizing that he tried to do it the Matt Murdock way, and this whole "the devil made me do it" type thing where you just see him snap. He bleeds, and it's like, that's the line. And he does what he has to do, and it's not just the fact that he defended himself, but similar to a boxer or a military trained fighter that gets caught in an alleyway and tries to get robbed, and he's forced, not just to fight for himself, but he ends up going a little too far and using his skills and abilities in a way that he wished he wouldn't. But realizing that it's just who he is, it's part of his nature, and having to wrestle with that. Right down to the Murdoch and McDuffie logo, which shows these, this fighting dichotomy that ends up looking like devil horns anyway. It's an M, and it's combining their two worlds, but it even is drawn and colored in a way that is highlighting these two sides of Matt Murdock. And so I think they're showing that throughout. That's going to be a theme of the entire show, because it is a theme of the entire comic book, and it plays really well on screen, and it gives a good reason for him not showing up in his costume. It gives a good reason for him to try to do these courtroom dramas, and it really pushes the story along in a way that's very easy to write. And so they can focus on a lot of the more nuanced details of the story and the characters. But being able to see that, I think, is going to continue to go on, especially after what happened in the apartment in the last episode. The political pressure for Fisk is going to continue to mount. You can see, even from the way he says, I want to let you know I love this city, and the way that he tries to muster a smile. It's like he's trying the words on to see if they fit, but he almost has to fight back the throw up in his mouth because he just can't muster that sincerity. He's fighting his own demons. And so the political pressure, why do I have to do all these press conferences and do all these meet and greets and do all this stuff when I could just get things done? But the only way he knows how to get things done is to let go and be the kingpin. And so fighting those things is going to be where the political pressure happens and the things that are going on. I don't even think, it was very a Wilson Fisk moment for him to confront the police commissioner with the picture of a child. At first, I thought he was doing that to say, I'm threatening your wife and child, only to find out he was threatening the police commissioner with, I know you have a secret child, which means you've been having an affair. And that, as sinister as that is, it is still following more of a political, like, you're going to ruin my world, I'm going to ruin yours. I know things about you, just like you know things about me. It follows a little more of a political vein than it does a vindictive, mean Fisk vein. Although when Fisk does it, I think this is a good reflection in the mirror. When Fisk does it, it's evil and wrong because we know who he is inside. But if another politician does it, it's just playing up the politics. And so really shining a light on that as well is its own case study and own psychological evaluation. So I think the political pressure is going to escalate, but I only have it at 75% because I think there's a lot of other stuff over here that could be happening that we just kind of check in on these characters, and there's not as much this episode, and they kind of maybe bounce back and forth. There's a whole lot of world building still going on here. I think showing these characters in Manhattan, in Queens, in Brooklyn, in other places where they seem out of place is very intentional. Showing the bright lights and the cleanliness of the areas that they're in, all while knowing they're the grime and they're the dirt in that area, is very intentional. I think there is an aspect of it that you have more MCU backing, Disney backing behind it, where things can be a little more polished. They can film on scene. They can do all these kind of things where they're not having to create dirtied up sets or where they're not having to film in dark areas. I think maybe have something to do with it, but I really think it's intentional because everything else has been intentional as well. The lighting, the conversations, the places that they do these scenes. I think these things are intentional, so I think the world building is as well. 100% they're going to keep doing that by introducing some of these characters and showing what's going on behind the scenes and the pressure that is being put on the world and the separateness and the divisiveness that's going on, not just because of Fisk, but because of the police, because of the vigilantes. The city is a powder keg waiting to explode. And who explodes first? The city, and then Fisk and Murdoch have to decide what they're going to do with their alter egos, or do they explode and the city responds? It's going to be very interesting to see. I don't think that there's going to be as many Easter eggs. I think there's going to be some nods to the comic, the way the costumes look, some different things like that. But I don't necessarily think they're going to be doing a whole lot of, oh, this came from this and that came from this and here's these different things. There's some paintings that Fisk has. There's some different things that you'll be able to see that maybe add to it. That kind of speak to their nature, but not necessarily Easter eggs in the form of, oh, there's this thing and it came from way back here and connecting some dots. I think there's just going to be some name drops, but then they're going to lean really heavily into this high drama. I think this story really stands on its own. There's, similar to a Loki series, there's what I wouldn't call Easter eggs, but more name drops to show that these characters are interconnected with the world. But the story stands enough on its own. You don't need to do a lot of that stuff. You can just enjoy the ride, which is what I'm suggesting that we all do, is just continue to enjoy the ride. I think there could be a lot of complaints about, oh, the CGI this and maybe this and what about that. I think we spend a lot more time just enjoying the characters, enjoying the story, and let's come back together on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and put our comments in our videos and talk about it and just enjoy that we are getting 9 more episodes this year of Daredevil in the MCU, and it's going to be a wild ride. I'm curious what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comments. Share this video all across the multiverse, and then check out our other videos. We got tons of things you can sink your teeth into, and as always, guys, when the next one drops, we'll catch you right back here. Later.